Targoviste. A military genius changes everything. Picture this. The year is 1462. The Ottoman Empire is on the move, heading north with nearly 100,000 soldiers marching in organized military columns. Their mission is straightforward and simple. Crush Wallachia, a small country with only approximately 10,000 fighters trying to defend it, and bring it back under Ottoman control where it belongs. By all the established rules of war and military strategy, this should be quick and easy. The bigger army with better training and equipment always wins. It's simple mathematics. Game over, but that is not what happens. One military leader with brilliant strategic thinking transforms this Ottoman invasion from a march of triumph into something completely different and much darker. Something that makes the mighty soldiers feel genuine fear. Fear becomes the primary weapon that stops empires in their tracks. Attacks keep happening repeatedly, striking quickly and then disappearing before the larger army can fight back effectively. Men go missing regularly throughout the campaign. Sleep becomes something soldiers can feel safe doing anymore. Stories spread among the troops, disturbing stories they'll all remember for the rest of their lives. What started as an unstoppable march forward slowly becomes a journey filled with doubt and constant worry. The soldiers grow increasingly worn out, hungry, and scared every single day. This wasn't the war decided by who had more men. This was psychological warfare fought in the mind. And people would talk about it for hundreds of years. In 1462, the Ottoman Empire controls all of Eastern Europe absolutely and completely. Nobody questions this reality. Constantinople, once the greatest Christian city in all of history, fell to the Ottomans just a few years earlier. Now it is called Istanbul by those who rule it. Sultan Mehmed II is young, intelligent, ambitious, and ruthless. He completely believes history is moving forward under his personal control. From the coastal Aegean areas to the Balkans, every kingdom surrenders or falls completely. They pay tribute money to the Sultan regularly. They send their own children as hostages to Istanbul to prove loyalty. The Danube River is no longer any protection. It's just a line the Sultan allows to exist. Wallachia sits north of this river. It is small, poor, and stuck between much stronger and more powerful forces. The rulers errant, to warriors seeking battles and glory. They survivors doing whatever it takes to keep their people alive. They pay yearly tribute to Istanbul. They hand over family members as hostages regularly. They govern carefully and cautiously, always knowing that one mistake ends their entire family line forever. For many decades, this system keeps Wallachia alive, barely surviving on the edge. Then Vlad III becomes ruler of Wallachia. Vlad doesn't see tribute as survival. He sees it as slow death, like surrendering inch by inch to forces beyond control. He grew up in the Ottoman court as a young hostage, held as insurance. He learned how they work, how organized they are, how they get what they want. But he understands something else clearly. Wallachia will never truly be safe depending on another ruler's goodwill and patience. So Vlad breaks all the rules. He stops sending tribute on time. He stops sending hostages to Istanbul. He attacks Ottoman military posts south of the Danube River. These errant attacks meant to take land. They recalculated messages that say Wallachia is no longer obeying without question. For Sultan Mehmed, this is rebellion and public challenge. If a small prince can defy Ottoman power and escape, other rulers will think the same way. Other borders will harden. The system falls apart. The Sultan's greatest strength is that everyone believes he always wins. So Mehmed decides on war. He builds an army carefully. Infantry, cavalry, engineers, heavy weapons, cannons. An army designed to beat Vlad and make an example so severe nobody else tries this. The orders are clear. Remove Vlad, put a loyal ruler in place, restore the old system. From Mehmed's view, the war is already decided. Wallachia doesn't have enough soldiers or money to fight long. It definitely doesn't have strength to face the full Ottoman army in open battle. Everyone expects this campaign to be quick and routine, but Mehmed doesn't understand the kind of war Vlad is planning. Vlad knows absolutely he cannot fight the Ottomans directly. The army coming toward him isn't just bigger. It is built for open field warfare. Tens of thousands of soldiers, heavy cavalry designed to smash through lines, cannon that destroy walls. If Vlad fights in an open field, the result is obvious. They get surrounded. Cannons come forward. Wallachia ends that afternoon. even hiding behind walls. 1. To help. Mehmed has already taken Constantinople. Smaller towns will be easy. So Vlad accepts a hard truth. He can't win by being stronger or having more men. He can only survive by refusing to fight the kind of war the Ottomans want. This decision changes everything. Weeks before the Ottoman army arrives, Vlad changes the land they all march through. He studies roads an army that size must use. Wide roads for wagons, river crossings for heavy weapons, routes avoiding swamps and thick forests. Then he empties those roads. Villages are cleared deliberately. Families leave in an organized way under armed guards. Everything else gets destroyed. Grain gets moved north or burned. Farm animals are driven away. Mills are smashed. Nothing is left to feed an army. Water sources are poisoned or filled with dead animals. Bridges are broken but not destroyed. Heavy cannons must cross slowly. An army that waits gets tired. An army that gets tired makes mistakes. Vlad breaks his own forces into small mounted groups, never more than a few dozen riders each. Every group knows the terrain from childhood. Forests where sound doesn't travel far. Hills that hide movement. Marshes that look solid until someone sinks. Orders are practical. Strike only when escape is certain. Ottoman scouts are ambushed and killed. Messengers never arrive. Foraging parties vanish. Supply wagons burn one at a time. The attacks are fast and brutal. Patrols are hit in narrow forest roads. Arrows strike from both sides. By the time reinforcements arrive, attackers are gone. The Ottomans rarely see who they fighting. They only see dead bodies, smoke, and empty ground. As days pass, the physical damage grows worse. Soldiers walk longer, dangerous routes. They sleep in armor because attacks come at night. Food is scarce. Water is suspicious. Feet blister. Horses weaken. Wounds fester. Discipline falls apart. Fear spreads through the whole army. But Vlad knows exhaustion alone won to break this army. Something psychological is needed. Stories spread faster than Ottoman columns. Not warnings from walls, but real stories told by survivors. When patrols are attacked, 1 or 2 soldiers are always left alive on purpose. They return shaken, telling the same story. They were hunted like animals. Prisoners were captured alive. Punishment was slow. The stories spread and get exaggerated. Each version is worse. Officers try to stop rumors, but rumors move faster than commands. The effect is exactly what Vlad wants. Ottoman soldiers stop thinking about winning. They start thinking about surviving. They start looking over their shoulders. The army keeps moving because they must, but confidence is gone. For the first time, soldiers feel like prey. Then comes the night that changes everything. Mehmed has set up his camp, believing it is secure. Thousands of soldiers sleep in organized tent rows. Guards stand watch around the edges. This is the heart of Ottoman power. Nothing can touch it. But Vlad has planned this moment for weeks. Under darkness, Wallachian riders approach through forests and marshes surrounding the camp. They move quietly. At a signal, they attack from multiple directions. Some riders hit guards at the camp's edge. Others cut through tent rows, attacking sleeping soldiers who can defend themselves. The attackers are few, maybe 1,000 against tens of thousands. But the night is dark and they know the ground. Fires start, tents collapse, soldiers trip over things trying to run or grab weapons. Horses scream, the whole camp becomes chaos. Ottoman soldiers suddenly find themselves running for their lives. The attackers move through darkness like they own it. As the night goes on, Ottoman response becomes organized, but too late. Elite units try to block escape routes, but Vlad's riders are faster and more familiar with broken ground and shadows. It is no longer about reaching Mehmed. It is about survival. Vlad rides with the last group to leave. He stays long enough to be seen, drawing attention toward himself and away from escaping men. He understands the power of being a target that must be answered. Then at the camp's edge, he rides into darkness. The forest swallows him. When Ottoman cavalry reaches the outer edge, all attackers are gone. They vanish into forests and marshes where pursuing them means losing formation in your life. Inside the camp, the night seems to last forever. Fires get put out. Wounded cry out. Officers count their men and discover gaps that can be filled. Weapons and armor litter the ground where soldiers drop them to run faster. The army is still there, but it is no longer whole. When morning light finally comes, damage becomes clear. Men were killed while sleeping. Guards died without raising alarms. The camp's center was breached. The Ottomans got hurt in a way that felt personal. Mehmed stands among his generals. listening to reports. He doesn't rage or shout. He understands this was a message. Vlad showed that no place is safe. No formation is impossible to breach. No ruler is beyond reach. Even the most powerful army can be hurt while it sleeps. As the sun rises, Mehmed orders the army to keep moving. Orders are given, lines form, discipline holds, but something fundamental has changed inside. Men talk less. They watch fires instead of trusting them. Guards stand with eyes fixed on shadows, even in daylight. Nobody laughs. The road to Targoviste is close now. As the army moves forward, there are no more attacks. No arrows. No riders appearing in the distance. The land offers nothing, not resistance, not surrender. It feels emptied on purpose, and that emptiness presses down on the minds of every soldier who passes through it. When the first Ottoman scouts reach Targoviste, decisive, they slow their horses. What they see doesn't make sense at first. Then it does. Beyond the road across the fields, the ground is covered with wooden stakes. Hundreds at first, then thousands. On every stake is a body. They rearrange deliberately in long straight lines facing the road the Ottoman army must take. Some hold soldiers in armor, others hold people in simple clothes. Some are clearly military men, others errant. Many have been dead for days, bodies blackened and stiff. Others are recent enough that it is clear they suffered. This isn't a battlefield. This is a display. This is a message. The front soldiers stop. Word spreads backward through ranks faster than any command. Soldiers halt. Horses shy away from the smell. Even officers can find words for what they receive. This isn't the result of chaos. This is control. This is deliberate. For the first time, the Ottoman army feels watched, judged. Mehmed rides forward to see it himself. He doesn't look away. He doesn't turn his horse. He understands the message instantly. The stakes done to block the road. The city lies open beyond them. But everyone who walks forward must pass between the dead. Inside Targoviste, there is nothing waiting. No soldiers, no citizens, no supplies. The city has been emptied with the same calculation as the countryside. Food is gone. Storehouses are stripped. Streets are silent. Doors swing in the wind. The capital is just a shell. Mehmed orders it occupied anyway. Ottoman banners are raised. Soldiers take positions. But there is no celebration. There is no victory feeling. The army controls the capital of Wallachia. Yet everything feels unfinished. Vlad hasn't been captured. He hasn't surrendered. He hasn't offered to negotiate. He is simply disappeared. He is left proof of what he is willing to do. That night, inside a city that should feel conquered, the Ottoman camp is quiet. Too quiet. Mehmed understands what his generals done. He say, an army can take a city, but it can force a man like Vlad to fight on its terms. War has changed. The cost of staying is rising. Holding Targoviste doesn't end the war. Mehmed knows this. The city is empty. The land offers nothing. Supplies must come from far away, along roads never safe. Every night still belongs to the forests. Every shadow still feels watched. An empire can occupy ground. It can occupy uncertainty. Mehmed considers his options carefully. Staying longer means hunger, disease, and soldiers getting weaker. Moving deeper means stretching an already tired army. Vlad is still free. He hasn't been defeated in battle. He hasn't surrendered. He hasn't been forced to negotiate. He is somewhere beyond reach. For Mehmed, this isn't failure in the usual sense. But it isn't victory either. The war, its purpose was to remove Vlad permanently and install an obedient ruler. That hasn't happened. So Mehmed makes a decision emperors rarely announce openly. He orders the army to leave. The Ottoman army withdraws from Targoviste, moving south across land that still offers no comfort. The campaign ends not with defeat, but with exhaustion. It ends with a lesson nobody will forget. Vlad doesn't chase the retreating army. His goal was never to destroy it completely. It was to make occupation impossible, to prove Wallachia cannot be held without paying a price too high to be worth it. In that, he succeeds completely. In the years that follow, Vlad's position weakens politically. He gains enemies. He loses allies. Eventually, he falls not to the Ottomans directly, but to shifting politics and brutal regional power struggles. History doesn't give him a peaceful ending, but it remembers him. Across Europe, people tell stories about the 1462 campaign. They talk about it as resistance taken to an extreme. They talk about a ruler who understood that fear, once unleashed, can stop even an empire, at least for a while. Some think Vlad is a monster. Others think he is a defender. Many think he is a warning about what happens when power meets desperation. Centuries later, his name survives in myth. But in 1462, at Targoviste, there was nothing mythical about it. There was only a small country, a ruthless ruler who understood his situation, and an empire forced to admit that power doesn't always move in straight lines. Sometimes it hesitates, sometimes it turns back, sometimes it remembers a road it will never walk again.